The Baltimore Ravens beat the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday with a score of 34-31, and although the score was close, their game plan was 100% a formula they can use on other NFL teams, and in today's video, we will discuss why they should moving forward. Now, there is a lot to discuss because it involves going back several years in tape like they did against the Vikings, and they 100%, several times really, exploited their weaknesses. The Ravens' longest play of the day was just 22 yards, but one stat that usually, but not always, tells the story of the game is time of possession, and the Ravens were coming off of a bye week and held the ball for 46 minutes of the 70 minutes that the game was played and ran 89 total plays compared to the Vikings' 52. They also had 36 first downs on those 89 plays to the Vikings' 13, and even with a 50-yard touchdown to Justin Jefferson and a Dalvin Cook 66-yard big run, the Ravens outgained the Vikings by nearly 200 yards, 182 to be exact, and really completely dominated the game. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, the completely dominated the game part means in the trenches because the Vikings, yes, they did have two 14-point leads, so it's not like the Ravens were up 34-7 or anything like that, but they did dominate in the trenches and the tape shows that. Now, as most of you guys probably know, I did attend this game. I made a few posts about going and it was a good time. M&T Bank, by the way, Ravens fans, is a terrific venue for opposing fans. I was wearing Vikings gear and not once was I given guff by a Ravens fan, so I very much appreciate that. But when I was there were several things I noticed with Baltimore that I do think are a lot different versus when you watch them on TV or even as we play here, the All-22 tape. And the first is just how much ground Lamar picks up at a time. I'd watch a play develop and think, oh nice, a 2 to 3 yard gain for the Ravens, and obviously you guys know I'm a Vikings fan, and here is where I sat, a little left of the end zone and about 40 rows back, but the reality is it would be 7 or 8 yards for it to be a 2nd and 2 or 2nd and 3, and you really don't realize from afar how much ground he's covering at a time. For what it's worth, this was my first time watching Lamar live, and obviously we all know he's fun to watch on TV unless you're like a Steelers, Browns, or Bengals fan, but Lamar is, for most fans, very fun and exciting to watch. And he ran for over 120 yards on Sunday, and what the most crazy part about this was how he accumulated all of his yards and why this is particularly bad for opposing teams moving forward. Remember, the Ravens' longest play was just 22 yards, and ironically it was to the 330-pound fullback Pat Ricard. The Ravens on Sunday had 4 drives of at least 10 plays, including an 18-play, 10-minute long drive that resulted in a Devin Duvernay touchdown deep in the red zone. It was a hell of a catch by Devin, by the way. And as much criticism as Ravens offensive coordinator Greg Roman takes at times, he called a near-perfect game plan against the Vikings. Yes, Lamar did throw 2 interceptions, but both were outstanding plays by the defense. The first play was a diving interception by rookie safety Cameron Bynum, and it was more of a good play than Lamar simply making a poor asinine decision. The other was Anthony Barr making a very athletic play, tipping the ball and simply coming down with an interception. Neither of these were a, Carson Wentz, I'm in a D lineman's arms, let me throw up a player here type play, right? You know what I mean? This was on the Vikings' part, 2 players making good plays at an NFL level, and sometimes that is naturally going to happen, especially when there is 89 plays run over the course of a game. But one play in particular I wanted to highlight in favor of Greg Roman and why I liked his game plan so much was this play on 3rd and 15 late in the game. And earlier, I said the game plan for Baltimore involved them going back several years in tape study, and this play shows that. Minnesota was showing their double A-gap look, meaning both Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks lined up in the A-gap over the center with several teammates near the line of scrimmage, as in near the ball where it is about to be snapped. Now, the reason why the double A-gap look stresses opposing offenses and offensive coordinators out is because Minnesota has both Pro Bowl linebackers in that, Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr right near the center, along with, and this is when Minnesota was fully healthy, but 4-time Pro Bowler Everson Griffin and Danielle Hunter, and obviously back in the 2016 and 17 when this defense was at its peak, 330-pound nose tackle Linval Joseph. Usually the double A-gap formation leaves offensive linemen guessing as to where and who they are going to block because the defense lines up 6-on-5 and Kendricks and Barr can easily just drop back into a zone coverage, and that little hesitation by an offensive lineman can leave someone like Danielle Hunter running close to untouched at their quarterback. And Zimmer would even have corner Mackenzie Alexander sometimes come in a delayed blitz and have a complete free shot at the quarterback because the other offensive lineman had previous assignments to take care of. And this, among Vikings fans, was referred to as the max sack. And having all of this information accumulated over the past couple of weeks in tape study, Roman's play call here was insanely smart. When we count here, there are 8 players that are either where the ball is snapped or to the right side of the field, meaning 8 players will not be able to tackle a player like Marquise Brown on this play unless there is serious traffic or Marquise inexplicably runs back towards the middle of the field. This was a 3rd and 15 early in the 4th quarter when the Ravens were down 24-17, and Roman calls a screen to the left side of the field, away from the, and he was guessing here, the double A-gap look that would come, and even though that look is designed to get pressure from the defensive perspective, a screen to the left side of the field away from everyone completely negates that, and especially when the screen is to one of the fastest players in the league, not just the Ravens roster. Now, Roman did not know the double A-gap was coming when he called this play, but based on years of watching Zim's defense in his tape study leading up to this game, he had a pretty good idea of what was going to be called in a situation like this, and Roman was right and completely exposed a chink in the Vikings' armor. When I was in the stadium Sunday, I could not help but think, man, what a great play call by Roman, and then the execution from Lamar and Marquise to pick up 18 yards on a 3rd and 15 was even better. Now, what's particularly impressive and also worth noting is this play occurred in the middle of an 18-play, 10-minute drive, and it is this type of play that breaks defenses' will because they were so close to getting off of the field and preserving the then lead they had, only for Lamar a few plays later to find Devin Duvernay in the back of the end zone to tie the game. So for Greg Roman to have this type of intellect to go back and really watch this film and then have the confidence in his guys to come back from down 14 a couple of times in this game, I do think speaks volumes. And for what this is worth, John Harbaugh is a great head coach and completely trusts not only his players but his coordinators as well, so there is no remote possibility of him getting on the headset and saying, hey, Greg, call this play now or that play, and really be power hungry. Again, because Harbaugh is a player's coach, and for that matter, a guy that lets his coaches, do their jobs. And if Roman is doing this against the Vikings, and it's that clear on tape what he's doing, it will be done in the following weeks, time and time again, with the team-specific examples, like whatever situation would exploit whenever they play a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers or Cleveland Browns, etc. You get what I'm saying. And for what this is worth, there's going to be plays where Lamar, given he is the quarterback, will have to make off-script plays and, for lack of a better term, be a football player and make something happen. And one play in particular on Sunday I wanted to highlight where Lamar did this to a T and I was left with my jaw open was this play on 3rd down to Rashad Bateman. This was a 3rd down in the 1st quarter and I was sitting a little left to the end zone, so my view was not far off from this angle, and I said specifically while this play was going on, there's nobody open, only for Lamar to make something out of what was otherwise nothing. And for reasons like this, I refer to the title of today's video. The Baltimore Ravens can win the Super Bowl because they consistently make good plays and Lamar Jackson consistently makes good things out of nothing. Now, yes, he will have his plays from time to time where he tries to escape a sack or escape a defensive lineman's grasp to run and potentially make a play, which sometimes does result in a 10-yard loss or sometimes a pass thrown away, but I can assure you I'm not going to fault Lamar for trying this type of play when my team's quarterback is Kirk Cousins, and Kirk more often than not won't even try and fight out and will most of the time sit there and take a sack. Lamar more often than not will make something out of nothing, and his numbers speak for themselves. The Ravens won't be able to have the type of control over other teams like they did with the Vikings on Sunday in terms of the time of possession, as heavily in their favor as it was, but with how effectively they run the ball and how good they are at spacing their players out and controlling the tempo, there's no reason they can't hold the ball at least 31 to 33 minutes every game. Now, the double, which in regulation would have been 40 minutes to 20 minutes, should not be expected like it was on Sunday, but what the Ravens can do every week is control the clock while simultaneously putting up 25 plus points. And if they can do that the way they did on Sunday to every team, not just the Vikings, then there is no reason why this team can't get to the Super Bowl in 2021 and, for that matter, win the Super Bowl. And what I also want to note is the Ravens did all of this in terms of the time of possession, in terms of the tempo, in terms of the clock, while losing the turnover battle 2-0. So that goes to show really how impressive of a game plan it was from Greg Roman's perspective, and if they can do that every week while not turning the ball over, then the sky is truly the limit for this team. Now, with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel because it would mean the world. If you're still watching, I greatly appreciate the time out of your day, and until next time, be safe and have a great day.